Welcome back. So, recently it was announced that Voltron was going to get a reboot on Netflix. And recently, in the past year or so, we've had reboots of Sailor Moon and a reboot/sequel to Dragon Ball Z called Dragon Ball Super. So with that in mind, I started making this list of what other anime I wanted to see rebooted or given a sequel. So I came up with 5 that I really wanted to see. So without any more introduction, here's my top 5 anime reboots and sequels I want to see. So for this list, it just got to be something that I watched and liked when I was younger, and it has to be a finished anime. Those are the rules. So anything going on right now, out of bounds. So here we go. Number 5 is Yu Yu Hakusho. This one was mainly a reboot in my mind. Polished graphics, ability to see this in a more, I guess, high def way. But I like the original anime. Even the English voices are done pretty well. And I think the idea of this one is mainly just a reboot. From what I've heard, the Sailor Moon reboot is basically just adding touches to it. So that's basically what this reboot would be. It's a good one, and also in the manga there are a few extra chapters after what you see in the anime. So I kind of would like to see it continue on from there and just add those few extra chapters. It's a small thing, but yeah, just my own thinking. Number 4 on my list is Ranma Half. Now, this is one of the first anime that I've ever watched, and even though it's 7 seasons long, there is a lot of filler, and I think it's too much filler. And to me, it should be rebooted so we can get more of the stories from the manga into the anime. Unfortunately, it's knocked down on this list because even the manga isn't complete. It had to be knocked down a peg because of that. And even though I liked it, I think also it could be something that can benefit from a reboot with better animation, better graphics, that sort of thing. Maybe if they ever do it and they bring it to the States, they'll have better voice actors than they had for the original series. That's just my thinking, and I do hope that if they do make it, they add some stories from the manga, because there are some good ones that should be included into the anime. Unfortunately, like I said, even the manga doesn't have an ending, a definitive ending, and I did not like that. So, number 3 on my list is Techimuyo. Here's another one. Here's the thing. The Tenchi series, the anime, there are 3 of them. 4 if you count the spin-off. But there's the one that I think about is Techimuyo. That one is continued in the manga. It was only, I believe, 12, maybe 13 episodes of the anime. So the fact that it was so short, and there's much more to be read about in the manga, makes me realize that, yeah, this needs to be continued in the anime. Hopefully they'll do it, and it doesn't really need to be touched up animation-wise. And if they do bring it to the States, the original voices were okay, but they don't really stand the test of time as far as when I go back and rewatch them. But maybe I'm wrong on that. Maybe it is as good as it was when I first watched it. So, number 2 on my list is Gundam Wing. Yes, there are many Gundam series. Wing was my favorite, and I have to say this one is again a more stylistic desire. I want to see a reboot, better animation, and I think it could really benefit from that. Look at the last Gundam Wing movie they did, which was Endless Waltz. Wing Zero in that one looked really cool, and so did some of the other Gundams that were shown off in that movie. The main ones were really cool looking, and they definitely look like, oh, if that had been in the original anime, man, can only imagine how cool that would have looked. And that's mainly what I would want from that. It's a complete story, even through all the anime episodes, and if you include the movie Endless Waltz. So this one is mainly a cosmetic want for a reboot. Just like as I've heard, the Sailor Moon is more cosmetic than anything else. But maybe I'm wrong about that. So, number one anime reboot and sequel I want to see is Rurouni Kenshin. Yes, when I first thought about this was the first anime I thought of because it's a really cool anime, it's a really cool manga, and even the live action movies have been pretty popular as far as I've heard. And I watched one of them, it was good. So there's definitely an audience there for a reboot of the anime. Not to mention, the first 2 seasons, my brother and I, we watched a lot. We bought the DVDs, we really liked them, but we never saw season 3. Mainly because we had heard that it was all filler. That season was all filler. Unfortunately, before they could go back to adapting the manga, the anime was cancelled. So you don't have that finished story. And there's a really good story in that could be the season 3 story arc. It could really work, I think. And even though they kind of show the story in a Samurai X movie, not as good. It definitely was not as good as you would see in the manga because it was very condensed and it was basically part of a flashback from the bigger story that was going on in the Samurai X movie. And so if there was one anime that I really want to see just get rebooted and or get a sequel, it's this one. I hope they do it, especially if Dragon Ball Super or the Voltron reboot and the Sailor Moon reboot get really good reviews and people like them and they want more of this sort of thing. I think this anime should be moved right to the front and get a nice reboot, give us a sequel, finish the story, give us fans of the manga something that we can say, yes, I'm buying that on Blu-ray or just as a DVD box set. So that's my opinion. What do you think? What are some anime that you want to see get a reboot and or sequel? Let me know. And my next list will be probably this Friday, hopefully. I'll try and make sure I get it out on Friday. So until then, later.